Well, hello there, how is everyone? I hope you're all well. This is video 2. I was going to go 4. 2 of 2. Yeah, you've missed one if you haven't seen one already. You know the drill. Not now, later. We're going to wrap this week up because it's Friday, TFI Friday and all that, and you're looking fabulous. And we're going to wrap up by talking about something that kind of sums up, I think, the entire Idaho 4 case, and certainly a lot of what we've seen this week. Now, I was watching the Shannon Gray interview with Brian Enton, and obviously Shannon Gray can't say much because he's bound by the gag order, which is what we was talking about in the video earlier today. But it was talking specifically about the demolition of the house. And I know many of you have thoughts and concerns that match my own, in which would point in the direction of trying to get this done. Get it done, get it sorted, get it out of the way. This is an inconvenience to our business, because make no bones about it, that's what the university is. The university is a business, and every decision they make is driven by what is best for revenue. And it makes you wonder whether that is a contributing factor as to why we're in the position with the Idaho 4 case that we are indeed in. And that is that we have someone who has obviously been charged and facing court, but there seems to be so many missing elements of the case, like how the hell did they find him in the first place? What led them to knock on his door? And some people think they've got it, but make no bones about it, there's bits missing. It doesn't make sense. Whether the DNA come first, whether the car come first, whether his name came first because someone just happened to say it. And we have a knife sheath, which just happens to be the only thing that ties him to this scene. And it was handed to them on a platter. A silver dish with a little bow, as we find a leather knife sheath that would seemingly go against all the principles of any vegan, if you're led to believe that Brian is indeed vegan. Now, that's arguable. Perhaps he just had dietary sort of concerns because of his previous issues with his weight, and he thought that the vegan diet was the best diet to take. But in terms of the fundamentals of being vegan, they were amiss to him. They were not something he was interested in. That would explain that away. But we have a leather knife sheath that a vegan took in and did this crime. It's left smack bang in the middle of the crime scene, and it contains a single source DNA. That means there was no other DNA. I know some of you are a little bit confused as to, it was stated that there was other, was it 2 or 3 other DNA found? It wasn't found on the sheath. It hasn't been confirmed exactly where those unconfirmed DNA samples were found, only that they were found basically in the property where the victims resided. But single source DNA on a button snap. Again, we've got something on a platter that contains something else on a platter, but yet they can't show the workings of how they came to it. And if you know anything about DNA, I've touched on this in the past, and that is that it ain't as straight cut as what they're trying to make out, and the figures with which they try to baffle everyone with. And they do say the 3 Bs, and that is bullshit baffles brains. Don't ever forget that. And look, at the end of the day, we've got a situation specifically with the demolition of the house that shows the power of authority with regards to how the college can turn around and say, we don't care, basically, what the victim's parents want. We don't care. We'd like them to come on the journey with us and be in agreement with us that it's best for this house to vanish for the process of healing. But what about the victims' families, and how do they heal? And what if this house demolition is the single element to this case that means that they don't get that healing ever? Why the rush? People will say, why the rush? Why the rush to get shot of it? And people, again, it will come down to money. But they're okay spending money on other things. They're okay spending money if it benefits them, but they won't spend money in the event of, it means it goes towards keeping this house up. I don't get it. It looks suspect, and the way with which the college have been acting, it just seems suspect. It looks suspect. I'm not saying it is. It looks it. It looks suspect. You've got a business who is pushing as hard as they can to get this house knocked down as quickly as they can, and they're hiding behind the ruse that they are doing it so the community can heal. And that is complete and utter bollocks. Complete and utter bollocks. I believe that they're not even convinced that the guy that they've got is the right guy, and they're scared that this is going to drag on, it's going to drag on, it's going to drag on, and it's going to start impacting their pockets. So they're trying to funnel the case, do away with anything that could potentially prolong this case, because they think that this knife sheath, perhaps, if you just push that and you've got that, then you've got everything you need. You've got a slam dunk case. I don't believe it is a slam dunk case. I think someone has screwed up. And I believe that there's a potential that someone has screwed up because the college put too much pressure on a police force that was not adequately... They just couldn't handle it. They couldn't handle what needed to be done because it weren't as easy as what they've seemingly made it, where things just started to fall in their lap. This was a lot more complex, and they didn't have the stomach for it. They didn't have the people for it. And the college pushed something that made them make decisions that forced their hand. And now they've got something, they've got the guy, and they're now trying to go back and start filling in all the gaps, all the blanks, to make everything make sense. Watch this space. Have a fantastic rest of your Friday, and I will likely see you over the weekend. If something happens, if it's quiet, we'll all have a break. Catch you all in the next one.